Welcome to the Columbus School Teacher Continuum. Today we're going to be working on topic 3, standards.
Our learning objectives for this module are that you can recall the what, why, and how of the teacher continuum, as well as name the look-fors for topic 3 standards.
The Teacher Continuum is a research-based self-evaluation tool that we've developed with the input of many stakeholders from TCS.
The teacher continuum forms a part of the professional appraisal process. Through this process, teachers will consider their own learning process and reflect on their growth throughout the year.
We use the Teacher Continuum because it encourages teacher continuous growth in alignment with the way that we'd like our students to learn at TCS.
The teacher continuum is not a rubric. It is learning that is a continual process and not a single score. There are 6 major topics, and each topic has subtopics.
Across all topics of the Teacher Continuum, which you can find in the TCS Teaching and Learning Handbook, you'll find black arrows that represent a movement from left to right, shifting from a teacher-controlled environment to a classroom where students have more student agency through a system of gradual release.
It's important to remember that all topics of the teacher continuum are integrated. At the Columbus School, we do think that classroom culture and classroom systems are the foundation to all work that will happen related not only to the teacher continuum, but in the learning environments and your professional practices.
It's also important to remember that collaboration and alignment are expectations. So although it's not explicit on the teacher continuum, when we say teachers, we're referring to teachers that are collaborating with their grade level teams, departments, and other groups. Collaboration is the foundation of work.
We're going to now take a deep dive into topic 3, which is standards.
The first subtopic that we'll look at is standards evident in learning. Take a moment to read the descriptors in the 4 boxes, remembering that student agency is higher towards the right side of the continuum. Pause and take a moment to type some of the descriptions for what this might look like in a teacher's class or practice into the Edpuzzle. Now that you've had a chance to reflect, here are a few options. So standards being evident in learning looks like teachers using the TCS scope and sequence and the adopted TCS standards in essential learning. It looks like teacher unit planning, showing how lessons and assessments are connected to those TCS standards in essential learning. And it might look like students talking about the input that they have given on the learning in the unit.
We're now going to take a look at subtopic 2, which is learning goals. Take a moment to read the 4 boxes and to think about what this might look like in your professional practice. While doing that, you will also be able to fill out some options in the Edpuzzle. Okay. So this might look like a classroom environment that contains student-friendly learning goals that are aligned to TCS standard or essential learning. This might look like students interacting with the learning goals at different times during the class. And students might identify their own learning goals, which may be different than other students, really looking at that differentiation component. Finally, students might talk about their learning process and what they need to do in order to reach their own individual learning goal.
The third subtopic of standards is mastery guidelines. Mastery guidelines is a term used to describe all of the tools that teachers use to keep students informed about their learning. This can include rubrics, proficiency scales, learning progressions, or continuums. Take a moment to read the 4 boxes and type some ideas of what this might look like into the Edpuzzle. Now that you had a moment to reflect, here are a few more ideas. Mastery guidelines look like the teacher providing student-friendly mastery guidelines and exemplars for academic content and 21st century skills. This means that we don't only give mastery guidelines for academic content, but we also provide students with information about how to be better collaborators, how to communicate better, and how to be more critical and creative thinkers. This also looks like students using processes such as unpacking exemplars or mastery guidelines, which allow them to understand the standards and learning goals to develop. It might look like students aiding in or explaining how they constructed some of the mastery guidelines for a unit or assessment. And it might look like students reflecting on their learning by comparing it to the mastery guidelines and setting goals to continue their progress.
The final subtopic that we will look at today is purposeful classroom activities. Please take a moment to read the 4 boxes and in the Ed puzzle, type what this might look like in your professional practice. This might look like teachers intentionally planning a variety of authentic learning activities. As we stated in the beginning, this would be happening in collaboration with co-teachers of the same course. This may look like students engaging in authentic standards, essential learning-based activities. Students might also explain and reflect how a classroom activity connects to the learning goals or skills of a unit or course, and may be able to elaborate additional real-world connections. Finally, another option might be that students develop the activities or projects that will demonstrate their learning and relate it to the standards and/or essential learning of the course. Thank you for participating today in Module 3. We hope that you were able to learn about standards and how that might relate to your professional practice. You should now take the reflection survey of the Teacher Continuum to submit your individual personalized reflections for each subtopic of Standard 3. Thank you.